So much lost in translation as to how Tyla not saying she was black in America led to her making black Americans feel extremely disrespected, which led to South Africans feeling disrespected because they think Americans already think they're the center of the world and then colored people exist. And you see how messy it got? So, with all of those things, that's why this conversation is happening. The Tyla discourse has resurfaced once again online because Tyla's EP sales were announced that she sold roughly 3,000 copies of her EP the first week it came out. And this gave rise to people sharing their thoughts on Tyla and how she is disliked in America by the Black American community, and therefore her album sales were low. I want to add a different perspective to this conversation that I haven't seen had online. And that is one of the music industry failing to push Black artists, coupled with Tyla's team not understanding how to market Tyla effectively to a Black American audience, coupled with South African fans and their presence online, and Black American people, their presence online, and these two groups not knowing anything about each other. We have done ourselves a huge disservice by eliminating the term and phraseology of one hit wonder. We've had several one hit wonders throughout our lives, and that was a specific thing in music. You either had 1 to 3 songs and then you were done. I'm not calling Tyler a one hit wonder, but that mentality has left people's minds where they don't understand that someone can enter music, have a massive song, and then they've really done nothing to support the elevation they've had. And in Tyler's case, her team hasn't really done the work to promote her effectively in a way where she resonates as a real human to Black Americans. Now, if we look at someone like Rihanna, for example, because Rihanna and Tyler are very similar in a lot of ways. Rihanna was marketed to Americans as this Caribbean girl, and very quickly she became Black, right? She has always said that she was Black, but she is Black and she's from Barbados. Very quickly understood that she needs to align herself with Black American, especially Black American women. Same goes for a slew of mixed race artists we have of African ancestry. They are always understand that they are Black in America because America is the land that they're in. Tyla came to America. Americans didn't go seek Tyla in South Africa and are asking Tyla to be Black in South Africa. She came to America. So to come to America and not understand how identities and identity politics work here, and then when asked if you are Black, you turn to your PR and say, I don't want to talk about it. You're digging yourself in the hole deeper and deeper and deeper. Normani, Chloe, Haley, Coco Jones are a few of the new artists that we have out now that their album sales are very weak as well. And why these artists, I've seen a lot of comments talking about these artists. These artists are Black. They're American. So there's never been a discourse or confusion as to who they are, how they identify, and how they align in America. So there's always going to be this thing with Tyla that people are waiting to pounce on because essentially she was marketed to Black people and Black people consumed her music because her music is good. I'm a Tyla fan. I think her stuff is great. This is more about the branding around her. I think when you essentially lack that understanding of your core base in America, in any country you're in, you run the risk of losing them, which she did for a lot of people. Cut to South Africans. South Africans online are some of the most intense, stubborn, proud people when it comes to representing South Africa and South Africanness. And what we saw during the whole Tyler discourse is that South Africans will not hesitate to be rude, disrespectful, and just try to cut people deep as they can without understanding how that can potentially impact someone. So South Africans were coming online and calling Black Americans stupid, saying that Black Americans think the world revolves around them and that Black Americans don't know anything about anywhere else, without realizing that once again, Tyla is in America. Black Americans are not asking anyone in South Africa to identify differently in South Africa. No one is coming there telling you not to be colored. But when an artist is trying to make it in the American market, because let's not forget, and you guys are all saying, well, she doesn't need America. Yes, she does. America is the music industry. It is the biggest music market in the world. If she wants to be this superstar that her team is trying to make her, she doesn't achieve that without America. So there's nuances to this whole discussion because she should have just said, I'm black, but in South Africa, I'm called colored because of our history in South Africa, and colored people are just a product of apartheid. Boom, done, right? But it didn't go down like that. Cut to Black Americans not really understanding the history of Black people outside of America. The average Black American is not taught about our own history by design in this country because we are the product of colonialism and slavery, right? And so our country is extremely anti-Black, which is why Black people are so serious about our Blackness. And so we're not learning history about South Africa. We're not learning history about most of Black places in the world. And conversely, South Africans see and consume American media because even though we're Black, we're still American. So Black American culture, music, art, history gets pushed out into the world. But that doesn't mean that you in South Africa understand our history or understand us. And in my time on this app, I've discovered that people conflate consumption of a country and people to understanding and having knowledge of those people. And you don't. South Africans don't know anything about America no more than Black Americans know anything about South Africans. And so what we had was a precipice where Black Americans don't understand what the fuck a colored person is, right? And you're like, why are you coming to America saying colored when that's offensive to our very being? That's one of the most offensive things that come out of apartheid America, because we existed in an apartheid state for a century here, and colored is an actual group that was given a name in South Africa, which is also a product of apartheid, which is also the name they gave to a group to be a buffer between white people and Black people in South Africa. And so we had all these Black South Africans fighting for a colored woman, and that in itself is a whole dichotomy that I'll let you guys in South Africa deal with that. But there was so much lost in translation as to how Tyla not saying she was Black in America led to her disrespecting, or led to her making Black Americans feel extremely disrespected, which led to South Africans feeling disrespected because they think Americans already think they're the center of the world, and then colored people exist and they have the right to exist. You see how messy it got? So, with all of those things, that's why this conversation is happening. And I don't think Black Americans really boycotted Tyla. I think her album streams are almost at 100 million for the EP. EPs always perform less than albums. But between the lack of musical marketing and actual investment in Black artists in America, coupled with the whole identity politics around who Tyler is, coupled with the loud and consistent diaspora wars, especially between South Africa and America online. This conversation is conflating so many things and trying to wrap them into one where in reality, that's not what's happening. But yeah, it's a conversation for sure. It's a conversation for sure.